Our first POV driving video. Let's see how it comes out. So as far as the camera setup goes, we have the Insta 360 camera with a baseball cap mount, and we have it angled down right above my forehead so that we can capture more of the road instead of the camera sitting very high up towards the ceiling. And then we have the Rode Wireless Go audio. We have that clipped onto the seatbelt right below my mouth. I would say about 6 inches from the mouth. So we're capturing some pretty good audio here. And we're gonna overlay that over the Insta video because the built-in microphone on the camera is not so great. But we're here on the interstate right now. We're only going like 40 miles an hour because it's the Friday before New Year's and traffic everywhere. But this is the normal day in the life driving in the Type R. So we don't have any music on, just raw driving audio and video. I'm not really gonna do much editing here or special effects or whatnot. But we have it in individual mode, and I have it set up on a couple different variations between comfort and sport and R plus as far as like the different settings go. So I have the R plus gauge display. I really like that the most because it shows you all the different gauges, your temps, the pressure, boost pressure, and all that. And then we have the gear indicator right smack in the middle, the speed on the top right, and then we have the tachometer, the bar style right up on top. I really love how they did the cluster design on the Type R. And if we switch to another mode here, we'll go to sport. Now we have our circular display. And it's actually pretty hot today, so I'm gonna turn on the air to pretty low. But we have the circle gauges here, and I think it's a really clean design. You know, we have the digital speedometer right up there on the top, and then we also have it on the side, and then the tachometer is on the left side. And then built into the left side gauge, the tachometer, we have the current audio that's playing. I don't have the volume up, obviously, but that's the current song that's on there right now. And then we also have the time. Below that, we have a smaller display which has the ambient temperature outside. It's 63 degrees, which is insanely warm right now for the end of December. All last week was below freezing and in like the 30s and 40s the past couple days, but today we got some really, really nice weather. And the other one to the right of that is the current gear indicator. This traffic is nuts. So on the right side, we have different sets of gauges here. We have the speedometer around the edge, and we have the current trip. Fuel range, we have 37 miles left on the tank, so we gotta go get some gas. And we have, oh, speaking of that, the fuel just came on. So we also have the average fuel economy. We're getting about 22 right now on this tank. And it also has the MPG current like bar indicator, which shows you what you're getting in real time. So right now we're at like 20 something, and it goes up when we get off the throttle. Below that, we have the total trip odometer. So we have 411 miles on the car right now. And then we can switch that using the steering wheel control to customize the display, the oil life. We have the seatbelt indicator. So if someone is sitting in that seat and the seatbelt's on, it will show green, and it will be red if the seatbelt is not on. We have the G-force gauge over here, and we also have throttle position, and I think the one on the right is brake pressure or boost. So I think it's brakes actually. And then this one shows boost pressure. So we just got up to like 11 PSI right there just by going half throttle. Navigation, average speed. So gives you everything that you really need to see. And then on the left side, if we use the controls, we can control the Bluetooth, USB, Sirius XM, AM, and FM, and then also your phone. So the digital display, I love it. It's a huge improvement over the FK8's cluster. Everything in this car just feels so much more luxurious. Everything's a lot newer. It really reminds me of the Acura Integra that we test drove earlier this year. And if you guys didn't know, the Civic Si and the Integra are basically the same exact car. And the Type R has the upgraded drivetrain with the beefed up 6-speed transmission and also the K20 C1 engine. I love the Lagar mode. I'm not sure if it's pronounced lager. It probably is. Makes the most sense, but I call it Lagar. We can call it lager going forward. But we have the coolant temperature, we have the oil temperature, the oil pressure, we have the ambient temperature, which is 62 degrees outside. This one, I'm pretty sure, is the intake air temperature. So that's the air temp going into the throttle body. That's 82 degrees. And then over here we have boost pressure. Right now it's negative, so that means we're in vacuum. So that's out of boost. If we go up, do a quick pull, I'll show you guys the shift indicator built into the cluster. It really reminds me of like a race pack or an ADM CD7 dash. So you guys saw that it became yellow and then red the higher you climb up in the RPMs towards red line. So that is really, really cool. Definitely race inspired, and I think it's sick. So the FK8 didn't have any of that technology, and I'm really, really impressed with that. The steering wheel also feels of really high quality. I love the leather on here. My Type R, the last generation, had an Alcantara steering wheel, so it felt like suede, and when you're sweating, it doesn't feel good, and then the Alcantara gets really dirty very easily. This leather feels really nice. It's super smooth. It's all clean right now because it's a brand new car, but obviously you gotta keep it clean and remove the grease from it, or else it's gonna start becoming like a shiny, nasty leather. And it's definitely not vinyl. It's definitely 100% real leather, so it doesn't have like that cheap vinyl feel to it. Shift knob is the same from the last generation. Wow, that traffic is bad. Crash ahead left lane, sick. Luckily we're getting off on this exit. But the shift knob is exactly the same from the FK8. I love the shifter feel on Hondas like the S2000s, the Type Rs. The shift feel is super crisp. It's very direct. And even when the car is cold, I don't really have any issues of putting the car into gear. And the clutch pedal also, sometimes when the car is really cold, you notice that the clutch pedal feels very heavy and spongy, but I don't get any of that, especially when the temperature was like in the 10s a couple weeks ago. This car is awesome. I love the short gearing on here. You really get up to speed really quickly. The only downside is, as a result, when you're cruising on the highway in 6th gear, you're kind of high in the RPMs and you don't get exactly the best MPGs. But in the FK8, when I had it, I was able to get over 30 miles a gallon on the highway, which is higher than what's rated from the factory on the window sticker. So that's awesome. In the wintertime, gasoline burns a little bit faster, so you'll notice that you get worse MPGs because the car is a lot colder. The car burns more gas when it's cold. Cold starts and warming up just takes a lot longer, so you're burning more fuel that way. And then also the air is a lot denser, so you're just going to be burning more fuel because the car is really creating more power. So that's why they say it's boost season, because cars with turbochargers will make more power when the air is colder than when it's hotter. So that's why we have intercoolers and upgrade the intercoolers and all those things. But anyways, that's a discussion for another video when we start doing more modifications. I can't wait to take this thing on the track and have a proper summer tire and wheel setup with lowering springs. This car is going to be an absolute beast. Probably upgrade the brake pads as well, but that's all for the springtime. Now we're in the winter, we're on the winter setup, so we have to kind of treat it that way because we're not going to get the best handling right now with that winter setup. But back to what we're discussing, I don't like the wireless charging pad that's down here in the cubby. First of all, I use it as a cubby, so right now I have like my Easy Pass, I have a LED flashlight, I have a 10mm tool. Don't ask me why, but I just put that there, and then, you know, now the wireless charging becomes useless, and where else am I gonna put my phone except for maybe like in the cup holder or on a phone mount or in my pocket where it is right now. So, and also the wireless charging rarely ever works. I tried it out the first day I got it. If you have a phone case on your phone, it most likely is not going to work at all because of the thickness of the case, and it's not reaching the back of the phone. And then I took the case off and I put it on there, and then I realized like 20 minutes into the drive that the phone wasn't even charging anymore. And that's with the case completely off, and the phone hasn't shifted anywhere because it has like a rubber padding on it. So I'm not going to use that, and I don't want to have to take my case off every time I want to wirelessly charge. So I'll just plug the USB cable that I have right there into the phone when I do need to charge, and it ends up being a lot faster and more reliable. Anyway, the other thing, while we're on the topic of wireless, I do love the wireless CarPlay. And right now you can see it on my screen, it says CarPlay, and my phone's in my pocket with nothing attached to it. But we can have like Google Maps. You know, this is wireless CarPlay right there. A huge upgrade over the previous generation car, where it did have CarPlay, but it was completely wired. And it was kind of annoying to have to plug your phone in and out every single time, especially when I'm doing, you know, a lot of local trips. So having this, it connects automatically as soon as I turn the car on. Love the wireless CarPlay. The other thing I love about this car is the adaptive cruise control and the lane keep assist. So when I hit that button, it turns on. You can see in the cluster I have the green lines. Those are the lane indicators on the road. And also we turn on cruise control, and it's adaptive. So you could set it at, let's say, you know, 70 miles an hour, but it's only going to keep you at a safe distance and speed from the vehicle in front of you, and you can control that using the distance button right here. So right now I have it on the shortest interval, which means it's the nearest to this big truck in front of me. And the cool thing is, on the cluster you can actually see that it is a truck that's in front of me, and it looks basically exactly like the truck that's in front of me. And then when another vehicle pulls up to the sides of me, it will show you the cars that are in the left or the right lane or in front of me. You can see that the brakes are being applied automatically by the car, and that even the tail lights glow up on the cluster of the little Type R that's right there. So if we have a car passing on the left, you'll see it show up on the cluster right there. So cool. It's like a Tesla. There's another car showing up right there. And you can see we have it set at 70 miles an hour, but the car is only going 64. because it's keeping a safe distance from the truck. And then I can also increase the interval and add some more cushion space between me and the truck, so you'll feel the car start to slow down. But now I have a huge semi-truck that's behind me and basically tailgating me, so I'm gonna get out of this lane to not piss him off. But now you'll see the car is automatically accelerating up to 70 miles an hour where I had it set. And now that truck is in my right lane. So the lane keep assist is really cool. And then you'll feel that the car will turn into the lane by itself as well with the lane keep assist. And after a while, you'll notice if I keep my hands off the steering wheel, it'll tell me that I need to put my hands back on, or else the whole lane keep assist, there it is, will shut off. It's not really meant to be like complete autopilot. It's just to help you guide the car in between the lane. So I wouldn't leave your hands off the wheel at all. Definitely not the safest thing to do. But you'll feel like the resistance, and it keeps you in the lane when you have your hands on the wheel. And then you can even see the turn signal on the little Type R that's on the cluster as well. We got some shrapnel on the floor. Let's not hit that. Looks like a tire blew up on a truck and now it's all over the highway. So you definitely don't want that flying into your car. Of course, I can't forget about these seats. The seats in the Type R, I have to say, are the most comfortable reclining factory bucket seats I have ever sat in. And I've asked a lot of other people who have owned GT3s and Z06s, GT350s, and they all say that these seats are by far the most comfortable, and also they hug you really, really well so that they're not like non-functional when it comes to going on a track. So I love these seats. They're very similar to the ones in the previous generation, but I think they changed the design of the fabric. They even added in some like very small details into the fabric. So really nice upgrade on these. And I could sit in these seats for hours and be extremely comfortable, but I also feel very secured in the seats, so I don't feel like I'm gonna fly out of the chair when I'm going into a turn. The honeycomb air vents, I think, was a really nice upgrade on the 11th gen Civic. The previous one had the traditional like 4-layer vents and you had to control each one individually. But this one you have to do the same, but it kind of gives you like this little joystick to control the direction and the flow of the air, and it goes across the entire dashboard left to right, and I think it's a really clean looking design. I love that as well. But everything about this car, they try to keep it pretty minimalistic. Like there's nothing like confusing or crazy about this car. Everything is in an appropriate spot. Like all the HVAC controls are right here. You don't have to go into a screen like the old Civic, where if you want to turn on, you know, the AC, you have to click on like the button here, and then on the screen itself it would tell you the fan speed and all that. It did have dials here and there, but I just hated that whole interface controlling the AC and heat on a screen. I know a lot of cars are like that right now, and a lot of cars don't even have like physical buttons anymore. Like Cadillac does that, and honestly I don't like that. I like being able to hit an actual button and feeling that direct input into the car. And the temperature, very easy to control. The fan speed's all right there. The details of the knobs are really nice. So Honda did an awesome job designing the new interior on the 11th gen. And also the illuminated door panel right here with the red line is nice. And I can't show you right now, but on the door sills, it doesn't have like a Type R emblem there anymore. It's just, you know, blank space. And if you want the illuminated door sills, you have to pay for that extra aftermarket, and you have to install it yourself. So add that to the other list of things that I don't like about this car. So like I said, it's nothing about like the driving or the performance or the functionality of the car itself. It's more so like, for the amount of money that you pay for this car, they should have included a couple of extra features, you know, because they went this far to make Bose speakers, leather everywhere, really nice quality, and then they have, you know, the flip mirror. So something like that, auto dimming, I think other countries got that, but the United States did not. And the illuminated door sills also should have been an included thing from the factory. But that doesn't affect the drivability of the car at all. It's more so just nitpicking, luxuries, and bells and whistles. But I think that concludes my first POV driving and impressions. Once we get onto some more fun roads, I'll be able to take you on some back roads and give you some more feedback on how this car handles, and we'll look forward to that in the next video. So this is the last video for 2022. That closes out this year with a nice little driving video, and we'll see you in the next one. See you guys.